Yes, people, welcome back to Talking Wolves. We're here for a brand new transfer news and update video. Hope you guys are all keeping well. Apologies, I'm recording on my phone again today. My camera, for some reason, just doesn't want to work. So I've got to get that sorted out over the weekend. But it's been quite a busy day of transfer news and rumours, which is great, obviously, for us as Wolves fans. Gets us a little bit more excited. And obviously, I'll give my thoughts on all of these today. If there's anything in the video that we speak about that you got any questions about or you want to leave your thoughts on, be sure to do so in the comment section down below. I appreciate the support, as always, guys. But we'll kick off with the first one. Saša Kalajdžić, it looks like he's pretty much gone. He's going out on loan to Eintracht Frankfurt. As of today, which is Saturday the 6th, it's reported that he'd been flying over to Germany to get his medical done over the weekend. And Eintracht Frankfurt are hoping that he'll be available for them to train on Monday onwards. It was reported a couple of days ago that they wanted him for next week's game because they're currently in their winter break. They return to Bundesliga action a week today. They're playing RB Leipzig, and they were hoping that he'd be available for that, and it sounds like that is going to be the case. Gary O'Neill confirmed it in his post-match press conference yesterday, and it sounds like Wolves aren't in an immediate rush to get a replacement in because obviously we've still got players that can fill that spot at the moment. I think there's only one Premier League game before the end of Feb as well. So Wolves aren't in an immediate rush, but they are compiling a list of strikers to replace Saša Kalajdžić, which we will talk about throughout the video as well. Now, Wolves were in talks with Eintracht Frankfurt regarding an option to buy. The German club really wanted to try and see if they would have the option to keep Saša Kalajdžić on a permanent basis from the summer. But apparently Wolves were wanting around 25 million euros as an option for him, which is quite a little bit more than what we initially paid. So there's no option to buy. This is just a straight loan for Saša Kalajdžić, and when he returns in the summer, both he and Fabio Silva will be evaluated. Wolves will look at their options and obviously see where they both are. But hopefully Saša can go. Like I said on the last couple of videos, he needs to try and get game time before, obviously, the Euros. He wants to be in that Austria squad. And it's a big time for him and his family as well. I think he's expecting a child quite soon. I'm sure his wife has started up a business here locally in Tetnall in Wolverhampton. So quite an interesting time for him. But obviously he needs to be playing football, and Wolves have granted his wishes. Difficult, really. He was signed under a previous regime. He's quite a unique player, and unfortunately not a player that really fits into the way that Wolves want to play. So here's hoping that he kicks on in Germany, and we'll see where we are in the summer on him. Now, possible replacements for Kalajdžić. Like I said previously, in the Telegraph today, it said that Wolves are looking and compiling a list of number 9s to bring in. Gary O'Neill wants a proper striker. But Wolves are going to be looking predominantly at loans. So loans with an option to buy this summer, this January, sorry. They want really to not really have to outlay much money immediately anyway until the summer. And I think it's very much going to be a let a player go first and let's see who we can bring in to replace them. So one that has been brought up to our attention again today is Hugo Ekitike. Now, I mentioned him on a couple of videos ago. Currently playing for Paris Saint-Germain. Struggling a little bit there for game time. He's on quite a big wage at the moment. So over the last season or so, he's just really struggled to break into the PSG team on a consistent basis. Wolves were linked with him before he even moved to PSG just about 18 months ago. And he's still only 21 years of age. So it's thought that the French club are open to letting him go, whether it be on a permanent basis or a loan basis. But the main obstacle right now is his salary. So Hugo Ekitike, you would assume, is going to be one of those players. I'm going to very quickly look whilst I talk here. His league record before he joined PSG, he played for Reims in France. And he scored 10 goals in his 24 league games. He's got 11 in 26. Last season for PSG, he scored just 4 goals. I'd assume his minutes were even limited then. But PSG did pay 28.5 million euros plus 6.5 million euros in bonuses. So about £35 million they spent on him. 35 million euros, sorry. So if it's a permanent deal, you'd expect Wolves are going to have to fork out maybe 25 to 30 million euros. So that may well be a loan with an option to buy in the summer. We'll see. But we'll see him at the moment to have possibly a positive relationship with PSG. Obviously, we saw Pablo Sarabia come to Wolves. We're potentially going to see Noah Lemina join, although it's gone quiet on that on the last couple of days or so. Another striker that Wolves have been linked with today is from the Telegraph is that Wolves apparently are looking at possibly Danny Ings as well. Currently playing for West Ham United, Danny Ings. Obviously been an England international previously. Got a pretty decent record, goal scoring record in the Premier League. But injury record, wages, lack of game time, lack of match sharpness. I think for me, there's probably more cons to this deal than pros. I don't think it'd be a bad signing, as in I don't think it'd be an awful signing, but I just don't see what it adds a huge amount compared to some of the other players like Ekitike and so on. Purely, I just don't know. I don't think in regards to play style, would he suit us to play from minute 1 to minute 90? Possibly not. Would he want to come here and sit on the bench and have limited minutes? Probably not. I think if you're chasing a game or Wolves have got the real upper hand and you've got Neto and Cunha or Huang all doing the running behind him and Ings is basically just in the box to put the chance away, then yeah, fair enough. But I just don't think he's the best option. But it was made clear in the article that Wolves are probably going to wait a little bit longer this month to see what options are available before committing on a player. But Danny Ings is a player that Wolves have got on their list apparently. So Hugo Ekitike and obviously Danny Ings. Now another player that Wolves have apparently asked about is Fabio Carvalho. I mentioned this again last week, but Fabrizio Romano has posted it today. They've asked about Fabio Carvalho on loan till the end of the season. A number of top 6 championship sides have also asked about him. I think this guy would kill it in the championship. I think he'd be a great option for Wolves though as well. However, Liverpool are wanting guaranteed game time for the 21-year-old. And that's the stumbling block for me. I can't see where Wolves will give Fabio Carvalho guaranteed game time. He was on loan at RB Leipzig earlier this season and was nothing more than a rotation option really. And Liverpool obviously didn't like that. They've recalled him. And again, the same thing here. I think he will get minutes. I think he'll come off the bench and get minutes. But is he going to start ahead of Neto, Huang, Sarabia, Cunha, Bellegarde? No, I don't think so. So unless he's happy to come and Wolves potentially see him as a long-term replacement for someone like Neto, someone maybe like Sarabia, then okay, fair enough. And I think Liverpool will be open to that. But if it is the idea that Liverpool really just want to get in game time and for other teams to develop him for their benefit, then I can't see this happening personally. But I think it just completely depends on what Liverpool, Wolves and Fabio Carvalho's expectations are in this deal. I think it would be a good deal, a good signing, but I don't think you can guarantee him the game time. And if that's what Liverpool want, I can't see it. I can't see it happening personally. But I think long term, it could be a good option. I mentioned Neto just then. Johnny Phillips, who's been on the channel before, really always great to talk to Johnny to get his thoughts on Wolves. Gave quite a detailed couple of tweets over the last few days about what's going on at Wolves. One of them today was that Pedro Neto is expecting the chance to leave Wolves in the summer. I don't think he's going to be demanding to move on, but I think he's going to expect options to be there if he's wanting to move on. And Jorge Mendes is expected to be lining up these options. I've heard previously on many people, a number of the Wolves players are happy in Wolverhampton. They're happy at the club at the moment. But no disrespect to Wolves, I think we're always going to be seen as a stepping stone. And Wolves now have got to the point where they need to be a lot cleverer with the signings and with players moving on. Because I think under Nuno and sort of towards the start of the Bruno Lage regime, Wolves held on to players for a little bit too long. And when the values of the likes of Jimenez and Adama are at their peak, Wolves probably held on to them for a little bit long, and we sort of went downhill. And Adama, left on a free. Jimenez a little bit different because obviously he was injured, but left for pennies really. Neves we did okay with, but he ran his contract down to a year and possibly restricted us a little bit. But I still think we got a decent amount for Neves. So Wolves really need to be a bit more proactive with the selling side of things. And Pedro Neto is someone that I think can demand 50, 60 million plus, especially if he has a strong end to the season. So that's one of the things really. Quickly looking at Johnny's tweets as well. Obviously, Gary O'Neill has strengthened Wolves' position, which is obviously great. The objective was for Wolves to stay up, which I think, we will do. O'Neill wants a number 9, which I've already said in today's video. And Wolves have already been knocked back with a couple of bids, but still working on getting the right player in. Any signing would be required to make an immediate impact. So I still think, like I mentioned last time, Noah Lamina might be a player that comes in and sort of sits between the 21s and first team, but I still think he can make an impact. I think all the other players, Fabio, Carvalho, is good enough to make an impact. It's just, will he get in ahead of these options right now? I don't know. A goalkeeper being scouted, but not the priority this window, which I think is fair enough. I think Forest are interested in Saar, but Wolves aren't actively looking to sell him. Saša unhappy with his game time, which we know. Johnny would help wage bills. But again, I'm not sure. I think Johnny will go out on loan quite late on in the window. Wolves will still have to pay the majority of his wage as well. And the newest update, which came out today, Forest interest in Jose Saar, but Wolves wouldn't sanction it without a replacement. I think that's very much something for the summer. Pedro Neto, which I've already mentioned, this window is arguably Wolves' least important of the Premier League era, which I do agree. Because I think the squad at the moment, depth-wise, is okay right now. Barring a U-turn from Fosun or player sold, it'll be a frugal few weeks ahead, which, again, we sort of expected. Kalajdžić's Wolves spell example of poor transfer strategy in 2022. I don't think it's a necessarily poor signing, because I think at the time that's what Wolves cried out for, something a little bit different. But I think we were very unfortunate with his injury, and obviously Large moved on. It was a Large player, Scott Sellers player. Large moved on. We got Lopetegui in. Hobbs came in charge, so I don't think that was particularly poor. And loans with an option to buy favoured, so brilliant. But the final piece of news is that Wolves are apparently looking towards a non-league again. Of course, we're about to sign the striker from Eastbourne Borough, which hasn't been made official as of yet. But Wolves are apparently looking at Bromley midfielder Ben Croughan, 19 years of age, central midfielder. A lot of Premier League teams, but teams all across the Football League as well, looking at him. Wolves, Crystal Palace and Brentford are the most notable ones in the Premier League looking at him, and he's been really impressive for Bromley in recent times. Again, I'll mention this it's really interesting to see the transfer strategy. Wolves are sort of dipping their fingers in a lot of pies in regards to where they're looking for signings, and I think this is clever. I think if you can get the head up, and get ahead in the race for players like this, if you're buying them for nominal fees and they fail, then okay, you've not spent a huge amount. But if you bring them in, they have a couple of loan deals, you can either sell them for a major profit, or they break into your first team for such little amount of money when he's 21, 22, then brilliant. And I think that's really clever from Wolves. Hugo Bueno is a great example. Max Kilman an even better example of that. Hugo Bueno was bought almost from like a Sunday League team in Spain through someone that was scouting him. And I believe he was a number 10, and he's coming now, and he's an established, you could say, a really decent Premier League left back. So there's lots of examples of this, and I know some people won't like it, but it's not taking a huge chunk out of the Wolves budget. And I think long term, Wolves are looking much better in the hands of people like Matt Hobbs at the moment. Still early days, of course, but things are looking decent. Guys, that is all. Nice chunky update today. Hopefully there'll be more news. Follow us at Talking Wolves everywhere. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And do let me know your thoughts on all of today's transfer news and rumours. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys, and I'll catch you all very soon.